It's really important, guys, to ensure that you keep the hoe moving. As you can see, because we haven't been up here properly for a couple of weeks, the weed, we've had so much rain that the weed has just come down, and the rain's come down and it's just fed all these weeds. So they're all germinating now. So it's really important that we just get this hoe, and it's best if you can do this on a dry day. Our soil is still a bit damp, but there's not a lot I can do about it. But what this will do is it will just uproot those seedlings, and we've got a dry day forecast for today, so that will mean that most of them should dry off rather than rerooting. Be careful around your onions and things like that. Okay, and most of these should die off then. It's really important, guys, to ensure the tip of your the tip of your hoe is sharp, and that will cut the seeds rather than just uprooting them. Okay, but our soil is so soft here, and it hasn't helped because we've had loads of rain. And if you keep this moving, it's going to save you loads of issues later on in the year. Like I said, we haven't been up here properly for a couple of weeks because of the weather. Everything's going to get a good feed today. But first part of the day, we're going to be just hoeing everything out just to get back on top of these little seedlings that have come through, because we don't want them to get established. Okay, guys, so there you have it. Onion bed has been hoed. Okay, you can still see the seedlings on the top, but they will stay there now, and as the sun comes out later on, that'll dry them off, and they should die. Any that take hold, we'll get in the next hoeing in a few days' time. So that's the secret behind keeping the weeds down, guys. Once you've got a raised bed, keep that hoe moving. It's really important. So guys, our comfrey is getting to the point now where it needs cutting. As you can see, it's just starting to go to flower, and ideally you need to cut comfrey before it goes to flower to get the most nutritional value out of it if you're going to use it as a feed. Okay, what you need for this is a pair of shears, and it's literally a case of just coming right down to the ground. I don't know if you can see under here, down as low as you can, and literally just chop it there. So you're basically giving it a big crew cut. It's a great plant because not only can you use it as a feed, but the bees and things like that love it as well. So there we go. We're down to the ground. We're going to just continue on the rest of these. Doesn't need to be pretty. Cut it and scoop it up. There we go. So what that's done now, guys, that's cleared this area out, okay, and we can just clear all this down now around the plants, make sure there's no more weed in it again. We'll give it a bit of a top dressing to feed it again, okay, and I've got some more. So we've got some more, and this has been propagated last autumn. What we did was that end plant here, which is now the biggest, we took up and we cut its roots into about 2.5 to 3 inch lengths, and they were potted in here. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to pull up a couple just to show you how it's rooted and what it was. Okay, I'm going to just pull the soil off it. There we go, guys. Little 2-3 inch length, and as you can see, it's made a really good little cut in. Lots of nice roots on it. It's leafing. What we're going to do, we're going to take those leaves off, not to stress the plant. Now we've pulled it out, and that's perfect. That's a perfect little cutting now, so that we can plant the rest of this area up. So we'll trim this back, and then this whole place then will be comfrey. It's going to benefit the bees that we're going to have here. We're still toying with that idea, but we'll see what's coming on. But the bees will come. We're running a bit late on them. But what it's going to do is going to allow us to plant up behind here, which will cut down on the fern and things that are coming through. So that's what you're going to do. Little 2-3 inch piece, as you can see. Alright, guys. And then once you've got that piece, just stick it in some little compost and just let it go away. Like I said, these were in there over winter. If you were to do this now and get some cuttings now, these would grow really, really quickly, and you could get them in the ground and have a crop this year. So that's what we're going to do later on now. The rest of the leaves and stuff are going to go in the barrel, ready for making more comfrey tea for later on in the year. Secret is, guys, cram it in. If you want to chop it up, you can, but the more you can get in here, the better. And we'll just let it break down for the tea in the bottom. There is a bit of water in the bottom just to get it going. Probably maybe about a quarter of this bin, maybe a bit less, and this will make a good strong tea. Just pulling out all the grass, babe, out of the strawberries. Oh, look, a cup of tea for me. You can help me pass, Mummy? Careful now, nice and gently.
Mommy?
Yes, babe?
Daddy,
Oh, ask Mummy to take it off then, love. Alright, that's Mummy, take it off. You going to say hello to everybody on YouTube, Caitlin?
Hello.
What about Wayne? You going to come here and say hello to everyone? Come over here. Wayne's got my jumper on because he's very cold as he's not very well, guys. Say hello, Wen.
Hello.
Go wave.
Daddy, wave, Wayne.
Put your arm out of there.
Hello.
Okay, Caitlin, let him do it on his own. There we are. Hey.
We're in the lumping right now.
In allotment right now, are we?
Tony's lumping.
Tony's allotment. As you can see, guys, over the last 3 weeks, the wildlife area has gone absolutely ballistic. All the grasses and weeds and things like that have come up. They're up to my knees at least, you know. So what we need to do eventually is cut this down, just to tidy it up. But obviously, as you can see, we've still got flowers and things like that in here that are just about over. Now, if we were to cut this down now, these bulbs wouldn't have a chance because they've had no food put back into them. And as a rule of thumb, with any sort of springtime bulbs, you want to leave it about 6 weeks in order for them to for the leaves to take the goodness back to the bulb. That feeds the bulb for next year's flower. So if you don't do that, okay, if you're wondering why you're getting rubbish bulbs or rubbish flowers in the spring, maybe it's because you're cutting them down. Yes, it looks scruffy and everything else, okay, but for us this is a wildlife section. But same thing with your daffodils and everything else. Leave them go for that 6 weeks, guys. Okay, once the flowers are dead, all right, that's when it starts feeding the bulb. Okay, so you've got to leave that foliage there for 6 more weeks, and then that'll feed them, and you're right then to go. So you can trim it down. The pond area is looking a bit green. Okay, and the reason for that is there's a lot of nutrients in the water. All the fish, frogs and tadpoles and everything that were in there are all doing really well. Okay, it's just the water's a bit green. Now, in our next episode, we're going to sort that issue out, and we'll show you how to do that then. But as for this area, we're going to leave it for another 6 weeks, so it's going to go mental. There's nothing we can do about it if we want to have these flowers next year. So we're going to leave them feed, and then after 6 weeks, we'll chop it all down. And everything is here then, okay, apart from the seed heads, like these ones here. We'll take them away now. Everything this year then will end up in the compost. So talking of compost, guys, it's really important that you keep turning it. Compost needs to be turned in order to aerate it. There are a few people who will disagree with me on it. But as you can see here, I've just got one little bit here. Look at all the little worms and things that are already in this. Yeah, and it's all because... Look at that, guys. Let me see if I can pull a few out here. Now, I've added no worms to this. Obviously, it's just a compost pile, and but it's when you heat it up now, a lot of these worms will disappear. Now, it's not breaking down fast enough for my liking, and that's because I'm not turning it. It will break down over time, but because I turned it and I've been away for 3 weeks, it's cooled down and all the worms and stuff have moved in. So guys, in that one little handful, look at the amount of worms that were in that. Okay, there's probably 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. There was 14 worms in that one little handful, guys. So it's just showing you that the worms are getting in, they're doing their job. But we want to turn it, okay? The idea is keep it nice and moist, but we're going to add some nitrogen back into it. So what I'm going to do for now, I'm just going to shovel it. As you can see, it is still quite moist. But we need to turn the outside into the centre. So we're going to move some of this over here, which is in the centre. Excuse me for banging you, but I've got you balanced at the moment. Okay. So what we have here, this is, those of you with a weak stomach, turn away now, okay? This is urine, guys, alright? And the reason that I have this is because urine is very, very high in nitrogen, and it makes a great compost activator, okay? Now, you can't just use any urine, okay? It has to be male urine. Female urine has too much estrogen in it, okay? So, for those of you thinking, oh my god, that's gross, that's urine and this, that and the other, well, you have to understand, okay, urine is sterile, okay, when it's fresh, alright? I didn't collect this off a horse or anything, alright? But like I said, this is human urine, okay? Male urine, and all we do, okay, is we're going to put some of it into a watering can along with water, very similar ratios to what you would use comfrey and nettle, 10 to 1, okay? And then we're going to spray that onto the compost. Now, what this is going to do is going to add some nitrogen back into the compost, okay? And it's going to help it to heat up again, along with the oxygen that we're now putting in, okay? So we're going to stick that down, and now we're going to start turning it here into the middle. Now, I could just chuck it straight over the wall into the next bay, but for this turning, I just want to keep it in this bay if I can. I will turn it properly, and we will wet it down some more. but you've got to get all this stuff that's in the outside back into the middle, guys, okay? That's really important, because otherwise it never ever rots down. Now I know there'll be some of you out there gagging at what I've just done, but I think if you ask around, there's a lot of professional growers that will do it. There are a lot of people on allotments doing it. It just seems to be that it's something that's hidden rather than something that's talked about. Excuse me shaking you. But I don't see the point in hiding something like this. It's a fact of life. The other thing, guys, everybody is happy putting horse manure or cow manure onto their plots, which is full of urine and all other sorts of feces. And it's no different, guys. It's obviously I'm not sticking my manure on here, but it's really important, like I said, get this oxygen into you now, and then once we've done that, we're done. Okay, so take that tag out. So now we're going to give this one more soaking with the rest of that urine. Let it soak in. And we're going to leave that heat up again, and we'll turn this again then in probably 3 or 4 days time. Now there are a few people who will disagree with me on turning. Like I said, leaving it, especially what I put in it, would take too long, so we have to turn it to get it down, and I need the compost like yesterday, not in like 6 months time. It's gone quite cold here today. It's the 17th of May, and as you can see, things are really starting to come on behind. You know, there's things coming on. The rhubarb is looking absolutely brilliant, and I know a lot of you guys have had some really good rhubarb this year. Incidentally, on the rhubarb, guys, if your rhubarb starts throwing a flower spike, snap it off, okay, and you can prevent it going to seed, because that's what it's doing. All right. We've had a few people asking on the forums and what have you about that. So at the moment, yeah, things are really coming on quick. The weeds are coming just as quick. Okay, it's really important to keep that hole moving, and we've got 2 areas that we really need to sort out in the next few days, and that's because the weeds are about 2.5 feet high in them. One is where the very old polytunnel, which is down by there, where the old polytunnel was, we need to dig that over, because that's where our brassica bed is going this year, and we're going to put a brassica cage in there. And we've got about a 3 foot square patch of dock over here that we have to dig, ready for our spuds to come out in the buckets. I've not been very well this week. I've had a bit of a cold and everything else, and a cough, and so it's been a bit hard. You might hear me, I'm a bit sort of nasally at the moment, but it's been hard to sort of get up here and do anything. The weather's been really bad. We've had loads and loads of rain, but the next few days now I need to get up here because I'm back in work on Thursday, so it's time to really get going. But it's great now because it's warming up, and it's getting to that point of the month where we're coming to the very last frost, and that's when we can start moving things out. I would just hold off just a little while longer, okay, before starting to put out really delicate things, or if you are going to put them out, at least cover them with fleece or cloche them or whatever you can do, okay. So guys, that's me for today. I've got a couple of things. Tomorrow I've got a new camera coming. It's the same as Sean's, which is a G7X, and I was originally buying a GH3, as you guys were aware, but I held off on it because that thing was like £700 without the lens, and I thought, well, with everything that was going on, I thought I'm just going to hold off just on spending that money. The time I buy the lens and everything else, we were looking at nearly £1,100. So but when I saw the quality of the low light video footage on Sean's video, I thought that it's a no-brainer. So I did a bit more research into it. The only drawback that camera has is it has no uh, mic socket, so that you can put an external microphone in. But because I record all my sounds separately, it's not an issue for me. So it's going to make a great video to go along with this and the other two cameras I have. So now we'll have three cameras that we can film around the plot with, and hopefully that should give you a little bit more of a mix up within the shots that we could do. We'll be able to do short, close up shots and wide angles and long range shots. So that's what's going on at the moment. I hope you're all getting on with your plots and getting things to the ground, and I hope you have a great week. And from me, I will see you in the next episode. Bye.